Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hey, it's me, Eric, and this is my son, Daniel.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, it's good to be back here. We were just having devotion. We weren't going to do this, and then I felt led in my spirit to do it. And I'm so glad that we are doing it because we love doing this, and as you can tell, and we are so happy to be back with you. We were just having a devotion about Exodus 5 and 6. So, what were you telling me a minute ago, Daniel?
This is the most important adventure in the whole Bible that was written. Not the most important thing, but it was the most important adventure that God gave to Moses. Yeah.
So, what is the whole thing about with Moses and God in this?
He was going to save his people of Jerusalem, right? Jerusalem or Israel?
The Israelites from Egypt? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Pharaoh was like keeping them, right?
Yeah, slaves and
Yeah, slaves working for him. And Moses was the prince, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he had his own family. He wasn't a prince before, but then his family put him down in a river, or his sister, his big sister, he put him down on the river with all the crocodiles and stuff. Luckily he didn't get eaten by the crocodiles. Instead he went to is it called a castle in Egypt or something?
Well, yeah, it was like that. But so that was the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And like we were talking in the previous video about how Jesus, when he was born, King Herod wanted to kill all the babies, right? So this was the first time they wanted to kill all the babies, I believe, was when they heard that someone was coming, and it was Moses. So they sent out to kill all the babies, and that's why she put Moses as a baby in the basket and went down the river. But God saved Moses from the crocs, right? And
because he because he knows everything, so he would know that he would save the Israelites.
Yeah, it's so amazing because, like before, because before we were talking about how you must start something in order to have victory. And we were talking about the cross earlier, how Jesus had to, he was sent as the Word became flesh and dwelt among us and became a baby. And, and then he was on earth 33 years. But, his ministry began when he was 30, but he had to start, and he was obedient unto death. He had to start in order to finish something, in order to have victory, and then we have new life because of what Jesus did, which is what this whole thing is about with starting, right? Because Good Friday is about the whole start of it. And then the other thing is, what we are just reading now, Daniel said, let's go to Exodus 5. So we go to Exodus 5, and they're talking about making the straw into brick, and he was talking to Pharaoh, and then Moses came back, and he was like, God, how come this is turning out bad? But something's always got to happen in the beginning. They always have to start something in the beginning to make something happen in the end, right? Because that was the start. And God's way is the most wise way, of course. And so what we don't even know what God's doing a lot of times, we know what the outcome will be, but how he does it, we're not sure about at the time sometimes. Like Moses didn't understand, why are you having me go to Pharaoh and say this stuff? He hates me now. But God knew that's the only way for it to happen.
Yeah, he was just trying to, protect his people. Do you know the story about the 10 plagues.
Yeah.
At first there was 9 plagues, but that didn't annoy Pharaoh enough. If you don't know all of those plagues, just look it up. But the last plague was the one that actually convinced him.
Yeah.
It was the death of the firstborn.
Right.
Yeah.
It took him too harshly. I mean, his heart was hardened already, and the other 9, it didn't really faze him so much. But that last one, it got to him, and that's
because he had a son, but then his son died because he didn't believe in all of in the Lord. He only believed in his gods, which weren't even real.
So I guess if you work on something enough, it's going to soften it up a little bit. In this case, maybe it was Pharaoh's heart, because it took a lot to get him to even acknowledge, right? It was just he was just stubborn, So sometimes it's like that even for people now, but yeah, God knows the best way. He knows the end from the beginning. He knows everything, so he knows what's going to work. So we got to do it his way. So what this devotion is about is what? Doing it God's way, because he's the most wise, right? If we listen to God and we're led by the Spirit and do whatever God says, he's got something great that's going to happen. He's going to open the door and it's going to be victorious. There's going to be victory there. So we got to just be led by the Spirit.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't, we wouldn't do that. We might look at it as well, that's weird, but just like when Jesus is spitting on someone's tongue or rubbing mud on their eyes and go wash in the pool of Siloam, in our mind, we don't think that. But if we listen to God and we do whatever he says to do, then just like in the Bible where when he turns the water to wine, just before that, Mary said, do whatever he tells you. So they did that. They didn't know what was going to happen, but they just did whatever he told them.
Like that other thing about he putting out his hands and then he lifts the water like this. First it goes back, like he puts out his hands like this, and then all of the water goes back, and then he does this with his hands, and then all of the water goes up. And all of the fish are swimming right beside him. They walk slowly, but then Pharaoh attacks. So then when all of them went to the other side, so God tells him to put his hands out again, but then instead of putting it out, he closed them. And then all of the water went on Pharaoh and his servants.
Oh, the Red Sea, right?
Yeah, the Red Sea.
So when he parted the Red Sea, closed it on them. So God's way is always the best way, right? So if God leads you to do something and he gives you a vision, if that's his vision and he wants you to do it, he'll put that desire in your heart, and then you'll have a desire to do that thing. But do it when he says do it. But don't wait too long and don't say, was that God or was that me? But when you know it's him, which you should know because my sheep hear my voice, he said. So just follow the leading of the Lord and do whatever he tells you. So we just want to say, once again, thank you for listening. Listen to God, because his way is the wisest way. He's the wisest. Right, because you have Christ in you. He is the power of God and the wisdom of God, and he lives in you. So in you is the wisdom of God, and in you is the power of God. So because you have Christ in you, the hope of glory. Christ is the wisdom of God, and Christ is the power of God. So listen to him, okay? And please subscribe and keep following us and like this video so we can do some more videos for you. We love doing this for you, but we need you to subscribe and we need you to like us.
Yeah.
So thank you so much from Eric and...
Thank you, and bye.
Bye.
Boop.